Hey there, it's Fiona, and we are going ahead with today's theme. Today's theme is all about where the magic actually seeps in. I'm not talking fantastical or mystical or fantastical or rubbish woo-woo. I'm talking about real magic when you can receive information that is coming through from your soul guidance. So that is what we're talking about today, when the magic actually starts to seep through and begins to really give you practical guidance. So business, I believe, is one of the first places where women realize that they've stopped listening to their inner guidance. Because once they start listening to their inner guidance, it's like, oh my God, well, I knew that already. Why didn't I just do that? Why is this like working the way it is? So that's one of the ways that internal guidance comes through. I specifically concentrate on your business. Now, I could also turn around and say your body, I believe, is the first place where women suddenly realize that they've stopped listening to their intuition. Because I've been doing detoxing and raw food and helping people understand the wisdom that comes through their body. So I can see quite easily where your body or your relationship or your business, all of these are where you have stopped listening to your inner guidance. Now, once you start listening to your body, once you start feeling into things instead of thinking your way through things, things radically change. So I believe, let me say that again, that women have stopped listening to their internal intuition, feminine intuition, guts, all the rest of it. And this is where we really need to step out of our own way and start listening to it, listening to ourselves instead of giving all our power away to someone else. Now, I truly believe that everyone has internal guidance. And because I believe that, I can help you understand getting out of your mind where that actually lands in your body. Most people think that, well, they'll just sit there and, guidance will come in. But if you're not asking the right questions, or if you're not really tuned into the way you feel about something, it's not going to work. Today, I shifted a story. I shifted a story that I've had for a decade. Not because I didn't like the work that I did, but I saw that because of today that I just hadn't been in the right headspace. I'd been really staunchly, stubbornly talking just about manifestation, just about intuition. And today, when I got into the right headspace and the right connection, I was shown where I'd been in my own way. And I was just trying to repeat something and something that had worked, and I was keeping there. But unfortunately, things change, things grow. And that is the same for you as well. So when my story shifted and I was given some insights and some intuition, I was given some visions and I heard the words, I was like, right, okay, I get what you've been trying to message me just recently and why everything is a little bit stuck and a little bit slow. So thank you very much. So stepping you out of your own way and getting into a different headspace. Now, stepping out of your way, getting into a different headspace, this is all about allowing your soul divine guidance through. I've come to understand that there are 5 different languages when it comes to your soul divine guidance reaching you and getting through, reaching the parts of you that no one else has ever reached. The first one is about thinking. Now, one of the main messages from the dragons about our evolution is that we are just overthinking all of the time. Thinking, analyze, thinking. Let's think about it again. Let's think about it some more. The second one, when you walk through this different portal and you start doing things differently, is when you start to feel and you understand what you're feeling. You're understanding where things are going, how things are turning out. Feeling has you out of your head, and there's a different understanding that lands in your body. First of all, we always talk about your yes and your no. The third language is knowing, knowing your energy, knowing how that sits, knowing the nudges, and knowing when things happen. The fourth language is receiving guidance. Now, receiving guidance for a lot of people comes through the clairs, come through your audio, your visual, your feeling, your sensory perceptions, extrasensory perceptions, and we need to really know what is working for us. Now, some of us get all of those, but we don't get all of those repetitively. It is a different language. And then the fifth language would be that we are actually then responding. But we're responding to the magic that's come through. We're responding to the intuition and the guidance that has come through. We're taking it, we're grabbing it, and we're trusting it. So I've started to invite in more magic just recently. And I decided, how could I pull magic from the air? So I decided to take on more magic recently and start playing with magic a little bit more again, and allowing myself to see if I couldn't just pull things out of the air and understand, if I could do that, all the different things that happen. So I've seen certain things happen, signs written on the wall, getting my head going down to a certain drawer. I mean, I've just had so many stories about magic happening and then not actually using it for other things. So I've decided very recently, I'm just going to use that over and over and over again and dive into that with more depth. So this is a way of moving. This is a movement that is actually being built here. It's like you will just start to do that at a natural basis, on a natural basis. So just like when I asked for the dragon cards and I was given, just keep looking straight ahead, and I got a vision of railroad tracks and that was it. Or when I was guided to write your book, write your book, write your book, write your book, that came in an auditory way. There are so many different ways that guidance comes through to you. Now, no coach or other person should these days be telling you what to do. No coach or any other person should be telling you what to do, because we are evolving. We are moving into the next era on this planet. That means that we are telepathic, we are mediums, extrasensory perceptions, we get to know our intuition. And this, we are on the pioneer, the breaking edge of that. So no other person should ever tell you what's right for you and what's wrong for you. If you go to the pharmacy, you can pick something up and you kind of go, is this right for me? Is this wrong for me? You'll know your yes and your no. If it's to do with nutrition, you'll be able to ask your body and your body will respond. If it's to do with your business, you'll be able to ask and your body will respond. So no one gets to give their power away to someone else with another coach saying, you need to do a funnel, you need to do an advert, you need to do this. Well, it may be true, but what about if you asked and you find out for yourself exactly what it is that you should be doing for yourself, for your body, for your business, for your health and your relationships? Now, when it's magic, when it comes through for any practical part of the situation that you're in, it will land in your body. It will land, you will feel it. When I'm talking to someone, I can feel when something lands, and I help guide you to where that's landing within your body. Imagine within 3 months, you could actually know where something lands in your body and you know what's true for you and what isn't. It is a practice to constantly be going in there, asking questions, and this is the new language. Now, as you know, I have received brilliant responses to some of the questions and some of the things that have been going on in my life and the quandaries. And that was because I was able to get out of my own way. Yet, in certain areas of my life, you've heard me say this before, in certain areas of my life, I'm really stubborn. And I have a really fixed way that I think things should work out. Business has been one of them. I had a very fixed idea of the way I thought the way things should work out. Yet, as I decided, well, what if there's just a different way of doing this? And I need to be open to that and I need to allow that through. So, the 5 languages of your soul's divine guidance, I want to invite you into like a 3-day experience of what thinking feels like, what feeling feels like, what knowing feels like, when you're getting divine guidance, and actually when you're able to respond to something. And that's the absolute beauty of that. So I want to invite you into the 5 languages of your soul's divine guidance. It'll be a 3-day experience. We're going to dive deep and we're going to go in and we're going to understand, when you're thinking, you'll know the difference. When you're feeling something come through, when you're feeling and knowing the energy that is coming through, when you're receiving actual guidance, and when you're able to respond to that actual guidance. It is all happening, not in your head. It's all happening within your body. And this is a different language. And I've laughed several times thinking I moved to France, I didn't speak the language, but I was learning all the time this other language. I was learning my soul language. I was learning channeling. I was learning mediumship. I was learning intuition. And that is what I now teach you so that no one else ever gets to tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing because you'll know it from the way you feel within your body. Um, we are going to go in now and we're going to look at the cards that are popping up for today with the theme, which is allowing your magic to seep through. So let's go forward and do that. And we're just going to pick up card number 1 today. So let's see which card decides to literally fly out of the pack. Let's see who wants to speak to us today. What message are you going to get that your soul wants you to know? Your soul wants you to understand what's going on. So we're just going to let the magic seep in. There we go. Bunch fell out there, but this is the one. I'm a snorter. All right, number 60. We're in utopia. Now, utopia is basically when you have decided and you know that you can live off the world. In other words, you are not entrenched. You're not receiving the world exactly as you thought it should be. You are understanding that you are now 1 foot off the world. Number 60, Utopia, is card number 1 this week. Anybody who chose card number 1, this is the message from your soul to you, what she wants you to know. Tuned into the ancient tribal ways of witches, sorceresses, wizards, African witch doctors, and spiritual masters. Slow right down. Turn off your analytical, vigilant mind and take a deep breath, and then another. Let it run from head to toe, and breathing is a way that brings your attention back into your body. As you do that, you will notice subtle sensations, knowings, and insights. The sensations that inform you beyond what you see, what you hear, and what you feel in the world that you're in, the physical world that you're in. But reach into sensing through no time and space where all things are possible for you to perceive. Okay, you already use your awareness and intuition and subtle guidance, but there is a natural part of the human being. But with practice, you can see through new eyes and hear through new ears, and further allow yourself to be guided to the right time and place for new opportunities to reach you. It just needs warmed up. You can access the ancient tribal ways of the nomads, the sorcerers, the druids, and the healers for direct guidance from the spiritual world. You just don't access any part of it, but you have access to it all. All right, so that is card number 1 this week, and we're thanking Utopia very much because that is a profoundly accurate message for this week's theme that I was given today to take that forward. All right, so card number 2 for this week. Again, the theme, let the magic seep in. The magic is having practical answers and responses when you've been stuck in your head for too long. Ceremony has been coming out a lot for me recently. Oh my God. Absolutely. Absolutely, darling. 54. Knock at the door. Okay. So card number 2 this week, if you chose card number 2, and the theme this week being let the magic seep through. There is so much more about magic available for you, so much intuition, so much of everything available for you. And this week, tune in and operate with a wider bandwidth and an infinite spectrum of frequencies and vibration. It is so tempting to view life and believe that all that we see and all that we feel is all that there is. That's your survival mode. There is a full spectrum of feelings available to you that you have only accessed a very limited spectrum. Imagine the light spectrum, some of which you can see and understand with your limited human visual spectrum, the light that surrounds you all of the time. And now remember that the different species can see into an expanded spectrum of light. Their eyes are well adjusted and engaged. That other senses are experiencing a different spectrum of knowing. That's what we're inviting you into with the 5 languages of your soul. We are broadening the broadband so that you can actually start to see and hear and feel and touch and get very accurate information back. You're being asked to step out of your current limited emotional and sensing spectrums and start working your way into a broader spectrum where there is more color, more sensations, and that you can feel consciously more and more comfortable, safe, and familiar in. You start operating in a particular way that actually brings you answers. If you put a question out there, if you're reading a book, and all of a sudden, oh, it'll land, something will land. You go, oh, that's just the information I was asking for. Or when you're watching a film, or when you're having a conversation with someone, if you've put a question out there, you will get information back. So let's move now on to card number 3. Card number 3. Let the magic seep in. Tara, you beauty. You blue and green beauty. Number 12. I haven't read your message yet. I shall read it when I get to the card. Don't be impatient. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Okay. I can totally understand why Tara's coming up this week. With the theme of let the magic seep in, you have to trust yourself more than anyone else that you are receiving guidance, you are receiving messages. It is absolutely imperative that you know that you belong and that you feel safe to do that. So here is her message: safe and sound in myself wherever I am and whoever I'm with. You are safe. There is no better feeling than knowing how safe you feel, knowing who you are and when you can come home, feel safe at any time in your own body, just reconnecting with your soul. You carry that ability with you wherever you are, whoever you're with. It is your very own safe place. As a spiritual being coming in through birth to life and experience this world, with all its concepts of dense physical vibrations, strong needs to survive, and being educated in negative expectations. You as a soul have to accustom yourself to everything that is for the soul, not the truth. You are a super conscious being, made of energy, and you operate from frequency and orientated in the realms where unity, love, and freedom were the norm. These old concepts of feeling unsafe and bombarded with negative stories and beliefs that seem to be so real. No wonder life in this world can seem so confusing and so desperate. You are a spirit here in a flesh and bones body, living in vibrations that are dense and slow in comparison to your own. Everything you know intuitively as a soul seems not to fit and feels unreal and unnatural, and the negative experience of the collective population seems to be more real to you. That is the beginning of your message today. Wow. Okay. So I'm getting these messages this week. It's a really, really powerful week. We are in the process of aligning to a new experience. And we really have to take consideration of that if we're feeling a little bit shit, if we're feeling a little bit low, it is not just to do with our heads. It is also to do with the fact that we are being forced to evolve. Frequency is getting different. We're living in a different path. We're living in a different way. The planets are shifting. Card number 4. Let's see what that has to say about letting the magic seep in. Again, utopia. Okay, multi-sensory human, expanding consciously, constantly exchanging and having new insights. You are number 57. Let's just see what comes out from that. And so that you can get a very more solid feeling in that for yourself. So card number 4 for this week, utopia. Multi-sensory human, expanding consciously, constantly changing and having fresh new insights. So my theme this week is letting the magic seep in. And I had been stubbornly sticking to manifestation, intuition for the last decade. And I was shown something just recently by changing, and I'd now changed the story in my head. So that is going to shift the way I do my business as well. Sometimes we are just needing to change and get fresh new insights. And who better to do that than your soul? You are always expanding and adding in new experiences, growing and expanding consciously, changing and having new insights. You are not meant to remain the same forever, but like a plant, you grow, expand, and change. You are here to create new experiences, to want more and have more space to grow. Who you are today builds on your core itself, but through new eyes with a freshness and new, elaborate, expansive feelings. You grow to see a new perspective in an old situation and observe the world with a new place. You have a new perspective. You look at things with a completely different outlook. This is what utopia means when you have been lifted off the world as you know it, when you start operating, thinking, and knowing and feeling from your soul's perspective, your soul language, like what's happening on the inside of my body. Is that a message? Yes, it's a message. It's like that constant communication that goes on through you. It's a whole different word to experience as one who's seen the light, experienced the various color filters from under the rainbow, and has let go of the ties of the old world, lifted off. A whole new world is available, from living on the outside, influencing you, to now living and knowing the inside of your own perspective. And this is what we mean by the 5 languages of your soul, the 5 soul languages, and how she communicates with you. And that's the challenge we are doing. That is going to be the challenge that we are doing. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much for listening to your own soul. She is the only one that you need to be listening to right now. Your own soul is the only one that you need to be listening to right now. She has the answers for you. She can point you in the right direction. When you have your soul bond, your soul connection, and I don't need those, and you're tuning in to what she wants to show you, and you've developed a strong relationship, a strong, trusting relationship with what your body is showing you, what your soul inside you is showing you, that very bigger part of you, the stronger part of you. That is when you are making more impact and more influence on other people, because it's coming from your soul, not from your human and your ego. That is when you are not influenced or affected by what is going on in the world around you. You can stay true to who you are and what is important to you. And that is the 5 languages that I will be teaching later on this month. Always, as always, these messages just blow me away, because there is so much more for us to see and so much more for us to be doing than just surviving. So have a great week, and I will see you again next week with more messages from your soul.